A flood destroyed a Missouri family farm, crops ruined, and work erased overnight. One parent stood outside, cursing the sky in despair. The other stood in the same place and quietly began singing. Same flood, same loss, same world collapsing around them, two completely different responses. What separated those two minds may explain more about human resilience than almost any modern self-help advice ever written. The boy watching those two parents would later spend his life studying worry, emotional collapse, and mental resilience. He noticed something important very early. One parent became consumed by bitterness and helplessness, while the other retained calm, movement, and emotional strength. The difference centered around one ancient human practice that exists in nearly every civilization on Earth. Not necessarily religion itself, but something deeper that modern neuroscience now studies seriously. At its core, prayer, meditation, surrender, or reflective ritual all force vague anxiety into language. Fear becomes clearer when spoken aloud. These practices interrupt isolation, so the burden no longer feels trapped entirely inside your own mind. They create emotional release because humans were not designed to grip every fear without pause forever. Naming the fear, releasing part of the burden, and acknowledging limits can calm the nervous system in underestimated ways. William James concluded that practices of surrender and reflection often produced real psychological transformation, regardless of specific theology. Decades later, researchers found meditation and contemplative practices produced measurable changes in stress hormones and nervous system regulation. The language differs across cultures, but the mechanisms often overlap more than people realize. One reason people collapse under stress is the mind keeps trying to control what cannot fully be controlled. The ego desperately keeps pushing against reality long after exhaustion begins. Surrender interrupts that fight, not by giving up on life, but by acknowledging limits. There is relief in admitting, I cannot carry all of this alone. Sometimes the nervous system begins recovering the moment resistance softens enough for the mind to finally exhale. You do not need a specific religion to experience this process. Some people pray, others journal, meditate, walk in nature, speak honestly aloud, or sit quietly naming what they fear. The form matters less than the psychological movement. Stop forcing yourself to carry every fear silently inside your head. Speak it, write it, name it, acknowledge what you can control and what you cannot. Then focus energy on what is within reach. Does surrender mean passivity or doing nothing? No. The mother who sang during the flood did not sit motionless, hoping circumstances would change. She still worked and rebuilt. Reflection without action becomes avoidance, and action without emotional release becomes burnout. The healthiest people often combine both. They release what they cannot control and then act powerfully on what they still can. Every life eventually experiences a flood, whether external through loss and illness or internal through anxiety and exhaustion. When those moments come, the mind usually chooses one of two paths: endless resistance that destroys you, or surrender that creates space for movement and clarity. The flood may still come either way, but how you carry it changes everything. Some people spend their lives cursing the sky. Others keep singing while rebuilding the house. Most people think resilience means never breaking emotionally, but real resilience is often quieter and about laying part of the burden down long enough to keep walking forward.